Released in 2022, this 1/6 scale Cowboy figure is an unlicensed interpretation of Woody from Disney Pixar's Toy Story series, which Playtoy seems to have borrowed from the works of 6-scale customizer, Toyman Zhao, who reinvents classic cartoon characters with a realistic twist. He also does a ton of amazing stuff, so definitely check out his works with a link in the description. For starters, I definitely see why some would find this head sculpt a little creepy in that uncanny valley sort of way. But despite the drastic stylistic departure, many of Woody's facial features remain faithful to the source materials. For instance, the shape of that elongated face and that pointy nose and chin are beautifully translated here, and the complexion of those slightly rosy cheeks are perfectly captured as well. Even the inside of the mouth is fully detailed, like this row of upper teeth, and a tongue that's complete with that glossy coating. So despite being an artist's interpretation, this head sculpt is actually pretty well made. If anything, I'd say the main culprit for the creep factor is the choice of this big old wide-eyed smile that, in some angles, is giving off this deranged murder clown vibe. The hair curls on Woody's forehead did not go amiss. And speaking of the hair sculpt, the entire piece can be easily removed, revealing a set of pegs for the movable eyes within. And this opens the door to a staggering dynamic range for this portrait, from your typical profile shots to whatever is happening here. And yes, this is a reference to the hentai Woody meme, thanks to the advent of the Revoltech version back in 2010. I don't know why I know these things. Anyways, the costume, while heavily modified to fit the 6-scale format, is every bit just as faithful. The red bandana is its own separate piece, with a meticulous pattern and a wide lining along the top edge, so it folds neatly in the neck. This cowspats vest and this yellow shirt with the red squared outlines, along with these bold white buttons down the middle, are beautifully replicated. The cuffs are complete with its own tailoring, even if the cufflinks themselves are missing. The vest also has this die-cast deputy badge, with the word sheriff crisply raised in the center. There's even a little ring on the back, which I thought was the coolest homage to Woody's pull string. The belt is made of leather with a die-cast buckle, though its backing is very uneven, so it's always lopsided. To the right side of the belt is of course the leather holster, with that same gold-trimmed red brooch in the middle, but this time, it's given a lot more details than in the movies. I'm a sucker for 6-scale denims, and I'm all here for that fantastic fit, that beautiful yellow stitching, and that brilliant whisker fade on Woody's bitchin' jeans. These cowboy boots are great too. They're tailored in leather for the most part. Although the cactus etchings on the sides are missing, these boots are geared with a pair of very solid die-cast spurs. Installing these could be a bit of a pain, since you can't see where the ankle joints meet the sockets. But otherwise they look great, complete with leather straps that run across the outsoles. And now come the articulations, which is arguably my least favorite part of this release. While the body stays true to Woody's somewhat lanky proportions, the joints are generally very flimsy, at least for my copy. The shoulders and elbows are about the only solid parts. The waist and pelvis are among some of the loosest I've ever seen on a figure body, with the sideway leg swing almost looking like a rag doll. The forward leg swing and knee bend are just stiff enough to hold a pose, and once you're at the ankles, the joints here go a bit soft again. Do keep in mind this release does not come with a figure stand. Even though I was able to get Woody to stand without one for the most part, I'd still highly recommend using any spare ones that you have just to be safe. There aren't much in the way of accessories, and rightfully so, as Woody didn't use much of anything in the movies. The most notable piece here is the cowboy hat. It's fully sculpted in plastic with a leathery texture, and the brim is threaded all around with an actual lace, giving it that authentic look and feel. It also fits snugly on the hair sculpt, without actually making contact with the face, unless of course, if you want the hat to sit a bit on the side. Ever since his debut in Woody's Roundup that began in the 50s, Woody was never equipped with a firearm. And even if he did, it certainly won't be this big bore revolver that Playtoy had chosen for this release, which seems to be based on one of Smith & Wesson's X-frame models. This miniature is loaded with a movable cylinder and hammer, and it even fits snugly in the holster. Oh, and if you thought the portrait was creepy, you'd be glad to know that all the hand parts are sculpted with these veiny details, which I'd argue looks okay, but not really that necessary. And finally, for the size comparison, I'm busting out channel resident tall dude, Cloud, from Final Fantasy VII Remake by VTS Toys, and Iron Man Mark 85 from Avengers Endgame by Hot Toys. Why? Because this Woody is huge for a 6-scale figure, and since this is an artist's interpretation, there's really no correct height to speak of. but for the record, this Woody stands at a whopping 12.5 inches tall, over 13 inches if you count his hat. And because of this, he happens to look great next to these royalties of Arendelle from Frozen by Medicom, Princess Anna, and Queen Elsa. In typical Medicom fashion, they just had to ruin these gorgeous figures by making them 12 inches instead of proper 6 scale. But as luck would have it, at least they work well with this new Woody here. And lastly, we have an actual cowboy, Arthur Morgan from Red Dead Redemption 2 by Lim Toys, followed by not a cowboy, but rather a cool guy in a hat, Dr. Indiana Jones by Present Toys. Arthur is pretty tall already, and yet this Woody still towers over everyone. So there you have it, the 1/6 scale Woody by Playtoy. Understandably, they could have broadened its appeal with a more mild portrait, but for an unlicensed interpretation, I'd argue the creative liberties taken here have mostly paid off. The likeness is excellent, the posable eyes are fun, the costume is top-notch, and the overall execution is superb. Except for a number of loose joints on the base body, I'd even say this is a brilliant addition for anyone looking for a fun and wacky character to join their displays. Personally, I just hope this will make a great companion piece to the upcoming Hot Toys Buzz Lightyear. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.